Good morning. In this video, we will briefly analyze a topic discussed in my column, Kerala Economy. The column is in English, the link of which is provided below this video. There are videos in both English and Malayalam, which briefly, which will give a brief outline on the contents discussed in the column Kerala Economy. Both the videos are attached in this video. You could find it. So let's get into the topic. One of the important topics in that column is the banking sector in the Kerala economy, and how private financial institutions are able to create their space in Kerala, and how this become a measuring rod of the financial position of, or rather the economic independence of the citizen of Kerala, and how real the picture is, how real the picture of the economic scenario of Kerala, in fact the Malayali is. It's about the reality, and it's about being the consumption, the supply, the demand, the savings, the investments. All these are general parameters that are used to assess the economic scenario in a society. And along with this economic scenario, you will be able to assess the economic position of individuals who are active in that particular economy. So let's not get into that technical things regarding supply and all these things. The amount of money spent, the amount of money saved are actually measured or actually assessed to analyze the position of an individual. And more than the financial position of individuals, more than the spending, saving pattern of individuals, it is almost used to make the policies of government. Whether fiscal policies, whether monetary policies, the policies regarding the policies that will make an impact in the market are actually taken by measuring these spending, these amount of money being circulated in the economy. So that is where the financial institutions, private financial institutions, come as a parallel economy. Now this parallel economy is occupied by these cryptocurrencies, all these things. But more than these cryptocurrencies, the private financial institutions and their ways of functioning is actually a parallel economy that is actually disconnected to the reality of the economic world, because the loans provided, the number of private banks have seen a big increase in the recent years. In the recent years, and these private financial institutions, namely these Muthoot, these Manappurams, they have created a big impact in the way Malayali consume things, Malayali avail loans. So how come that is being measured in the Kerala society is something that we have to analyze, because the loans taken for educational purpose, the loans taken for health, the loans, the vehicle loans, home loans, all these are generally indicate the prosperity of an individual. Given in the sense that we will see the decline of real estate sector, the boom in the real estate sector. All these measure the willingness or a lack of it of individuals to spend for home, or rather for how are they spending, the pattern of their spending, the amount they spent. All these are assessed through this real estate boom. In the same way, a society, an economic, an elected government, or a policy maker of a central government or state government will analyze the economic scenario in a state by measuring the amount of loans taken by given by a nationalized bank like State Bank or something. But and then the picture that is coming up is quite different from what is actually being happening. Of course, the Manappurams, the Muthu, they are legally they are recognized private financial lenders, and they play a big role in reviving a society, making easy credit available to society. But the thing is, the purchasing and spending pattern of Malayali is being reflected actually in these private financial institutions, because a state bank or an LIC policy, it's so time consuming for a normal citizen because of the kind of credibility they demand from individuals is quite time consuming. But in the case of these private financial institutions, it's just a matter of a valid government document, like a document like a voter's card or Aadhaar. You will avail, you will be provided, you will be given the credit, not, and your repayment capacity is actually not measured, and that is where the issue starts. The number of homes coming up, the number of personal vehicle coming up, all these may feel like a prosperity in the economy. The real estate boom, which was actually a product of the post 1970 Gulf exodus of Malayali, which has almost come to a standstill post 2000 when the Nitakat and the social development in the Gulf areas came up, and now post COVID. So that Gulf money that has been arriving in Kerala, you cannot say that it has actually developed, that has actually contributed to the development of Kerala society. Of course it has, but certainly it was. You can't consider it as a biggest asset of a Kerala economy. You can't never say biggest pillar of Kerala's development. You can never say that. It has created a kind of real estate boom, and now, so the picture is not completely clear. It's not vague. It's not distorted, but it's not actually the real thing. There are some things. So there are some what do you say? Something that has been left from calculation, from accounting. It's not unauthorized or it's not illegal, but something beyond these things. Not that completely it has been invested for the welfare of society. It is, most of them were personal, and many of them have not been converted into the biggest industrial developments in Kerala. Post 4 or 5 decades of Gulf migration or European migration or migration to the US hasn't created the kind of impact in the industrial arena as you would naturally expect. Maybe, and it is due to the political scenario, highly political scenario like Hartals and these things. But still, you cannot say that it's a pillar of Kerala's development. And in the very same way, this notion of the purchasing capacity of Kerala, the spending pattern of Kerala, you cannot consider it as a measurement of welfare of the society. It's a matter of, it's an indication of the lifestyle change of Malayali. Malayali is a globally aware citizen, probably the most globally aware citizen in Asia. You can say, and then is someone who wants to update. You can't say it a snob effect, a demonstration effect. It's actually someone who wants to constantly update. So the best quality products are that what he wants. It can be a perfume, it can be a car, it can be a clothing brand. He needs the best, and that best is now made available in each nook and cranny of Kerala. Everywhere. There are Raymonds, there is Rolex, even the Volkswagen, everything is there. The showrooms is there, the service centers are there. But that doesn't actually mean that people have the capacity to buy each and everything of this. They are willing to pay because Malayali is aware of the changes that is happening. And he is constantly exposed to these changes and he is constantly traveling. And post the IT boom, the amount of money available with the people has increased. The outsourcing jobs, the IT jobs, the monthly payment of these tech companies and international organizations are thrice or twice than that of a central or state government employee. The private jobs has risen in the recent years. So the thing is, the money spent doesn't indicate the financial prosperity of an individual, because most of these jobs are not permanent in nature. It's a very fluid job scenario, especially in the IT field, and the kind of investments being made too are not the most prudent thing. So what is evident here is that the international showrooms, international brands will come to a place only after a very grilling research. They will make sure that they get the best profit. And so if they have a showroom in say in Palakkad or in Kollam, you can expect that the people there have the financial capacity to make payment for this product. It can be a BMW, it can be a Rolex watch. So that means there are people who are willing to pay, there are people who have money to pay, but that money doesn't actually indicate the financial soundness of an individual. And that is where these private financial institutions come in, because most of these are loans availed from private financial institutions, because you cannot avail these loans from a state bank because of the repayment capacity, the kind of financial situation of the individual. All this may not be conducive for a loan of 10 lakhs for a vehicle, but it is possible with the private financial institutions, provided you have a valid document like a voter's card or other. So that is where the unclear, or rather not vague, not distorted as I said earlier, rather a kind of skewed analysis comes up, because the kind of purchases people make, the kind of products, the quality products they avail, the kind of the international showrooms you see doesn't really indicate the financial prosperity of an individual. It actually indicates the availability of easy money. It's not about the benign transactions, it's not about the smuggling, it's about the private financial institutions who give loans at will. But these loans are paid not assessing the repayment capacity. So this repayment capacity not being assessed indicates a rather an unclear picture of the social scenario of a state. So you might now be clear, because private financial institutions act as a negative incentive for people to consume what they can't actually consume, beyond what they can actually purchase. So this private financial institutions gives, so in such a way, this private financial institutions gives a rather an elevated picture of a financial scenario in a state, because you see people availing the best quality products. The real estate boom itself is a product of such such access to money, such easy access to legal money. It's a legal money from a legal source. There's nothing wrong. But the fact is that this money being getting stuck in either real estate or home loans. These loans provided by financial institutions are not being channelized for industrial development, and that is where the issue starts. People accessing the best quality, people being able to taste the best international product is a very good thing, and these private financial institutions can help in a big way in elevating the standard of a society. But the thing is, that is where we have to analyze where the government lag way behind, because these financial institutions can be used as a tool to bring up an industrial development. And this industrial development doesn't mean mines or irrigation. It's all about it's mines or something. It's about the small industries like the small industries in neighboring states. It can be a loan to a farmer. It can be a loan to someone else who is willing to take up entrepreneurship. So, if these loans are being channelized in such a way that industrial development comes, I think it can make a very big difference, because negatively assessed and negatively elevated, or rather unrealistically elevated financial scenario is a bubble that can burst at any time. Post-COVID, you see unemployment rising, you see people are insecure. So there are people, as discussed in many other columns, there are people who are insecure but are skilled, but are experienced and are willing to take up jobs and willing to take up entrepreneurship. People who are willing to be an entrepreneur. Their taste, their preference, it can change from seafood to restaurants to agriculture. And this has to be analyzed by state government and can be utilized in a productive way by clubbing their aspirations with a private financial institution, and then reviving the society. It's a possibility, because private financial institutions can be utilized to create a self-reliant economy where people who are willing to take up entrepreneurship are being provided a chance to become a successful entrepreneur. And at the very same time, it is being utilized to revive an economy, traditional economies like from khadi, coir to coconut. All these are assets of Kerala, which has been discussed in some other columns. Those columns are attached along with this video. So it's about possibilities, as discussed in all of the columns. And these possibilities has to be assessed. You can't stay in a false, you can't stay in fantasy for long. Because fantasy is a bubble, as said before, it will burst. You cannot allow it to burst. You can allow it to merge. Water can be merged to produce the best results. These bubbles, just not make them burst, make them glow. So these private financial institutions has to be channelized with the aspirations of the state, with the possibilities available before it is, and the necessities of citizen and the society. But the important thing is, a very important thing is the hostile socio-political environment in Kerala, where to start the industry is the next toughest thing, next thing to impossible, because it's quite disturbing, it's quite nauseating that a socially progressive society has been utilizing its political awareness and its space for political dissent to create anarchy, to spread anarchy, because these hartals, these political manpower, the use of political power, manpower, muscle power to deny an entrepreneur, to deny an industrialist his space to exhibit, to his skills, to his space to innovate himself, to his space to serve the society. This space is denied, and it has to be analyzed. But it's not an easy thing to ban hartals or to ban these unions. All these things are utopian things. It's not possible. But so let's be realistic. Realistic thing is a more pragmatic, welfare-oriented outlook towards private financial institutions. Rather than living in fantasy, let's make sure that it has been utilized to the core to produce a self-reliant economy. So the link to the column Kerala economy is attached, and videos discussing Kerala economy has been attached on the left side of this video. The column Jayakrishan Jairaj Kodiputhu, my YouTube channel. You can You can type Jayakrishnan Jairaj Poripatha in YouTube to find these videos. My YouTube channel, and in this YouTube channel you will have columns, poems, and videos giving introduction to respective poems and columns in both English and Malayalam. Thanks a lot.